Hello, and welcome to our next panel here at the B3 Biennale. I'm your host, Sven Fössing, and today's topic is fighting the giants. And I like to welcome in Vienna Jogi Neufeld von Subotron. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon, or good evening, or good night, or good morning. I think it's broadcasted in the afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings from good old Vienna.
Hello. And at the other side, we have Theodor from Minecraft Middle-earth. And as you see right now, he wants to say anonymous, so you don't see a picture, but you hear him. So hello, Theodor. Welcome.
Hello, and good evening from Middle-earth, I guess. I'm actually in Stuttgart right now, so yeah, it's a very nice day in Stuttgart, and I wish you a very nice day as well, wherever you are.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Okay, today we want to talk about fighting the giants and how you can, as a small developer, go against the real big ones. And Minecraft is one, really great example. Okay, today Minecraft is one of the is maybe on the side of the big ones right now, because it's now owned from Microsoft, and they pay a small amount of money for this IP. But when it started, it was just like we call it today an indie game, developed from one person, and and as many video game experts back then said, who will play this? And to be honest, I was one of them. said hey, no one will play this. There's no manual. You don't know what to do. And yeah, I was a bit wrong. So maybe you can as an example on Minecraft. When you play it first, how does it start for you, Theodor?
Well, maybe I should say it first. I'm not here to speak on the behalf of Minecraft or Mojang, the studio developing the game. Sure. I actually started very early playing the game, like over 10 years ago. The game is already more than 10, or I think it's almost 12 years old.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's it was not easy to start. There was literally nothing to go off of. Like the first couple of hours, I really didn't know even that I could destroy anything in the game. It's basically the premise of the entire thing, that you can destroy everything and build new things. Fortunately, YouTube was starting to be a thing at that time, and sooner or later, people started uploading tutorials. I'm really asking myself to this day how they came up with all the crafting recipes for the tools and everything. Like I don't know if they just tried a bunch of stuff, or there was some source somewhere in the game's code. I don't know. Nevertheless, that's how I learned to play the game, and it's pretty telling. Being here 10 years later, it caught me. It caught many other people. And it evolved into something much more than it originally was planned. Like right now, the way I'm related to Minecraft is beyond anything that someone would do in a normal session where yes. You play survival or creative. It's really, as you said, in some way game development or world building in some other way. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question. I kind of went
No,
off
that's
on a memory lane.
yeah. When we come to memory lane, maybe a guess in the dark, but I think Yogi and we are maybe at the same age around.
Older than you.
I don't know. I don't think it's not too much older. But
What was your first console or handheld?
my first handheld was the Game Boy. My first computer was the Commodore C16. Then we have a Pong. That was one Pong clone. Was my first console.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, okay, a bit. But so when we start with video games, I think at the same time, because that was the starting of most of the companies were what we call today indie developers, because many games were done by one person or really a small team. What was your first experience in video games, and yeah, how did you affected your life?
I I I I was addicted or first brought to this medium via do-it-yourself, because when I was a teenager, everything was about do-it-yourself. So I was active in the music scene, and we started to put out fanzines, play in bands, organize concerts. So we stepped away from those big gatekeepers, those big companies. And since we are in Biennale of the Moving Image, in the movie business or movie culture, the exact same thing happened, which happened to the game developer community as well in late 90s. So the production tools became free, cheap, and you could build your own business without depending on huge global companies. That's what basically Notch did in the first place before he sold out to Microsoft, of course. But that happened, and during the late, let's say, early 80s. But that happened to movie business as well, when the Super 8 cameras came out, and everybody could do with the technology, with the hardware, with the software, produce their own pieces of art. And that happened with the indie game scene, and that's when Subotron had its first peak, when he started to bring knowledge, global knowledge, transfer of knowledge to the local community, build a local community, and see what we can do with this new exciting medium without depending on huge companies. I mean, in movies, it was always, like Universal, also Sony, Disney, and so on and so on. We had the same in music with the huge publishers in music business, and we got independent from that. And what interested me most, to answer your question in the end, is to become independent and express yourself artistically, and also make money with it in one or the other form, by doing it yourself, by having all the tools to produce a cultural good and spread it around the globe. Does this answer the question?
yeah, that's a good start. But one thing is really important. I mean, also at the Minecraft Middle Earth server, but also if you want to build a game, and maybe as you said, with Subotron, you have a creative center competence. You can meet other people, be creative. And how much important is this factor community for you?
Oh, Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want. I was going to say to the other question as well. Community is really where it comes to what it comes down to. Like Minecraft was for me the first game that really gave the possibility to anyone to just set up a server and play with their friends without depending on any big servers or servers provided by the publishers or anything. It's really another type of being independent, and this is also what really built a community around different types. Like nowadays, there are probably millions of servers where people are passionate about different things. We're only a small part of it, and it's really that feeling of being amongst the people, like-minded people that followed a similar goal as you. That's what hooked me and kept me here for 10 years or more now.
Yeah, of course, a thriving and growing community is key for every medium and every cultural expression of culture of art. So, but we see a change from the early noughties when the indie scene was growing and you could just put your game out in the App Store or on Steam and give them 30% and become rich and famous, or at least rich. But that drastically changed, of course. And in the meantime, if you want to be seen and played and make some money as well, there's some kind of backlash. Recently, you have to you depend on publishers or on partners. Again, you cannot be visible on those platforms on your own anymore. So that changed recently, and now there's of course there's another shift in this volatile global market because other big brands, companies, whatever you want to call them, like Amazon, step into this market as well. Netflix, another one, who want a piece of that cake. And as an indie, as a one-man, one-woman show, as a small team, as a student team, who is eager to found its company and put out its first game, it's almost impossible to be visible and to sell anything without a potential partner. That's a big shift since the early heydays of indie development.
I agree. I think I totally agree. I think there's also one point that could help you if your game will be seen by one of the bigger streamer or YouTuber and he likes it. So you don't have a partner, but he pushes it, and this could also push your game to the limit. I mean, there are I think one of the biggest are Me and Names, the game with the imposters.
Among Us.
Among Us. Well, was a game nobody cared about. 2 years, nobody really cared. One big streamer, and it's a big hit. They canceled part 2 because they said, "Hey, we make so much money, we can put everything in this game." And so that's also, but it's also a partner. So
of course, it's a marketing partner. Streamers, YouTubers are the single most important tool when it comes to marketing and visibility, of course. But who brings your game to those stars of pop stars of our age?
For us at Minecraft Middle Earth, it's really a balance between putting ourselves out there with streamers and YouTubers and trying to leverage other ways of bringing people in, because unfortunately, the way our world works by promoting too much through video and picture media, we kind of build an audience that could get involved or come on the server and experience it hands-on, but really it's easier for them to be passive in some way and just I guess consume the content. We really until recently stayed away from this type of promotion because it's really the experience with the community on the server itself that we want to promote, and that actually people enjoy the most in the end. If I was to say so, I mean, I can only speak from my own experience. But if you join, the just the sheer scale of the project is much more evident than seeing it on a picture or through a streamer. At the same time, you can argue that the people that watch these games could also just watch them and never buy it for indie developer. So I think that's been an argument a long time, a couple of years back, where actual developers went after the streamers and the YouTubers that play this game and wanted to have some monetary gain from them. It's a slippery slope there.
Can I ask a probably very stupid question? Do you, and if so, how do you earn money?
We don't. It's purely based on donations, and it's not easy. Like we do have our server costs and website hosting and everything. In the recent years, we managed to strike deals with different companies or organizations that wanted to make a project with us. We had earlier this year we had a project with NVIDIA where we promoted the RTX technology through one of our maps, and that's where sometimes larger sums of money get donated from those companies. Where what really keeps our server going for multiple years. It's really always a very uncertain future for us when it comes to financing our hobby.
There is quite some like social or socio-political concepts on Minecraft. What I mostly use when I'm teaching is, or for me, a very impressive example is Reporters Without Frontiers, who opened like a library for content which is not available in their respective country. So they use this commercial platform to open content, politically hot content to the world.
Yeah, it's a great project. Really, people that haven't heard about it should really check it out. It's very inspiring. It's hard to really make money from Minecraft because it's intellectual property, first of all, of the publisher, and in our case, again, because we do use the Tolkien estate intellectual property to build our world. So I think many of the people that build mini games or small games inside this game really have a lot of troubles to come out. It is indeed a fight against the giants, if I may say so. Though Minecraft or Mojang has been very opening up a lot and very helpful in adopting partner to their studio, and like the people building these experiences are now actually recognized by Mojang, and we aren't yet, but I think we also don't really want to because of the Tolkien estate intellectual property, and it's an unspoken thing where they know we exist and kind of allow us to exist.
Yep.
But at the same time, we don't want to step out of the line and do anything that could cause problems. It's really hard to balance it out.
So right now, really, the as you said, with the partnerships and donations, the only thing you do is to cover the hardware cost, server cost,
Depends. Right now, we really had a couple of really good years. Maybe also because of the pandemic, where people really had more time to play games.
Yeah.
And if there's ever a situation where we actually have some money that we don't think we would be able to use put back into the hardware at that point in time, we do have long-term projects we could invest into by getting some outside help or paying someone here and there. Though these are like long-term ideals. I don't think this is very present in the community at the moment, because like right now we actually have a big project with No Kids Hungry, the US charity. They do a 24-hour stream every year in order to raise funds. And really, I'm coming from crunch time hell right now. Like we are a month away from the stream, and everyone is focusing on that. We really have to focus on the project at hand. We sometimes really cannot think too far into the future. Though, if I may promote it, do check it out. I think it's just 26th of November. A lot of cool stuff. We really have leveraged every single piece of potential that the Minecraft community could help us with to put a truly different experience into the game for this stream. I don't think you've seen something like this in Minecraft before, and I'm not trying to oversell it.
May I ask a follow-up question? What about, I have no idea, what about crowdfunding or Patreon of projects within Minecraft? Is there some best practice, or is it a stupid idea?
I think we've looked at Patreon before. It's definitely possible. I think we also had donation drives in the past where the money really got low, and people just donated. Like, the community is really, if I may generalize, about 16,000 people do subscribe to the stuff that we put out, or every now and then take a look at what we do. But the core community is not larger than maybe 100 people. And
Yeah.
when the money gets low, we really need to reach out to those other 16,000 out there. We haven't had to do that in a long time, and I'm happy for that. But Patreon would be an idea if there was this audience that would constantly want to get something from the community. The way we put our community out there is that anyone with a Minecraft account can experience everything we have ever built and put out there, and that's a really core ethic of our community. We've looked at Patreon. We may do it in the future. We really don't know in what way we could offer these rewards that you would have to do on Patreon. Though the one thing we do in order to incentivize people to donate is give in-game rewards, so to speak. So if you donate a certain amount, you get an elytra, and then you can fly around the map, or a horse or something like that. That's one way. Really, a lot of indie developers and also many of the Minecraft developers manage to fund their servers. There are much larger servers where they sell ranks like VIP or MVP or something like that. And I think the best example is Hypixel. It's the most known server, biggest server Minecraft has ever brought forth, and they have actually earned so much money that they now funded a small indie game studio. They now develop Hytale. Hytale is in some way Minecraft 2.0, if I may say so. It's basically a better version of what they already do, but their own game engine, and they're really everyone is looking up for this to this game. So it's really out there now.
I mean,
Great.
Yeah, I mean that's very interesting because you have Minecraft, which is part of one of the biggest publisher in the world, Microsoft. So it is the big ones, but with Minecraft within, there is this universe that really supports indie development, because that's really what you do, what others do, and
really
also
births it actually.
yeah, yeah,
It comes out of Minecraft at the end. I guess many people got to know what developing is through Minecraft and actually pursue a
yeah.
career in this medium, because there are so many tools you can easily use to custom to make your a custom game in nowadays.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens with this so-called metaverse now. With on one side those gaming platforms like Fortnite, Roblox, or whatnot, where prosumers are providing the content and can make money with it. Let's think about a Second Life with its own currency. Same in Roblox again. If I might suggest, the problem here is that, like you, Theodor, in the end, you're depending on those huge global companies who try to make money in the first place, and you use their framework and their tools and their rules in the end to express you artistically or make money, whatever you like. But you always depending on them, and if they shut down the servers, you're gone. And there was um, uh, um, discussion at the local University of Applied Arts, Angewandte, recently at a festival, how we as consumers and creators and prosumers can have either or both an impact on those platforms to become more independent and to gain somehow power within the platform, or how can we create our own platforms which are totally independent from those companies who suck the creative life out of ourselves.
I think in this regard, Mojang has actually done a great job. It used to be that we were really dissatisfied with the state of the game 6 years ago or so, because there was just not enough new content. There were many bugs, and the scalability was not there. Scalability is still a very big problem, because the Minecraft server cannot support more than 100 people right now, and we often come to meet this limit. And since our world is all on one server, we splitting up the servers would really be taking from the experience. So in the meantime, I do have to say Mojang is really listening to feedback. I think I hope many of these kinds of developers realize sooner or later that the community is really what makes their game, and if they don't listen to what the community says or what the community wants, it may break it. I don't think I have to tell you that Minecraft was not the most popular game 6 years ago. It's just recently got this new wave of popularity, because the studio realized, okay, people want more stuff in the water. People want a new Nether. People want these things that they were not paying attention to before, and now there is this forum actually where they take suggestions and you can vote on them, and the most voted ones get implemented. I'm actually very grateful to be working in this environment. It's really not a bad situation, but I have heard, especially with roadblocks, it's very hard for the content creators to actually gain anything from their work, while the company basically hosting their work gains everything. It's really a vicious cycle there.
Yogi, one question, because you have the also the experience, the business since long time. And do you think that some of the bigger companies also changed a bit their mind and realized that the communities are important? I have two examples. Minecraft was one of them, but I have two examples, two games. The first one is No Man's Sky. The developer promised everything. The game was released, and many people said, okay, that is not what you promised. But there was a big part of a community said, okay, you didn't promise it, but we like what you did, and we will play it and also give you feedback. 5 years later, No Man's Sky is a complete different game. The communities grows because also the developer listened. The other example is also Microsoft is Sea of Thieves. I'm a big Sea of Thieves player. I started it with a beta, then it was released, and it was okay, but I could everyone understand who said, okay, it's boring after a time because nothing happens. And 1 year later, or 2 years later, it's also a different game. And I made an interview with the developers and asked them, maybe wouldn't it even a better idea to release that game 1 year later? And he said, no, it was good that we released it at this time because we got so many feedback from the community. We implemented stuff that we didn't realize before. We wouldn't maybe. So do you think the communities have today more impact and they listen more?
Of course, and not only with huge projects like this and with large companies and publishers in the background, but your average small indie developer around the corner, of course, uses the community and has to build community from the very beginning. I mean, early access, public alpha, closed beta, whatever you want to mention there. During the process until release, most games, in the meantime, ask their community and build community on Discord, wherever, and do play testing with a broad range of customers, future customers, to implement their feedback in gameplay, in whatever, the assets, everything, not only to get a more commercially successful game, but a game which players want. And of course, that's on the other side of the industry, huge publishers and also so-called boutique publishers, like mid-sized former AAA employees who form a new studio to live their dream, come back with all their experiences and do mid-sized kind of projects. They all totally rely on community and on feedback, and that's vital for all kind of projects.
At the same time, the really large publishers also realize that the best way to build hype before a game is to leverage this community thing where it was the same with No Man's Sky and more recently with Cyberpunk, where the hype was so large and the disappointment so large at the same time, but they really made their money from it. And in the end, it's a double-edged sword if you want to see it like that. The community leverage that's
And of course, there's so many examples now during pandemic. I don't know, like Fall Guys, like Valheim. Those I think are great examples of like small companies who get bought or at least supported by bigger publishers. For example, Devolver Digital with Fall Guys, Coffee Stain with Valheim, who got supported or bought by THQ Nordic, Embracer Group, and so on. So they see the potential, they see the feedback from the community, and then they start investing in a small studio by providing money, knowledge, marketing power, whatsoever. I think that's good examples of how even as a small team with a great idea, a great game, you can grow sustainably. Is that the correct expression?
Yeah.
Sustainable growth.
I think we should rewrite the topic right now, and fighting the giants is more cuddling with the giants. But I mean, it's a change we see. It's also the giants realized how important it is. I think 10, 15 years ago, I had the feeling they don't care. They just see the numbers. Sure, today they also have to reach the numbers. It's still important.
They had to care. They had to begin to care when you look at the huge companies. Sony started off with embracing indie teams. Along came Microsoft, and in the end Nintendo on Switch. Smallest indie stuff is huge, and if you put out a PC game or a mobile game, when you want to go console, Nintendo is the first place to be in the meantime. That was the other way around. Yes. They were so close in the beginning, but all those huge companies started to depend on new indie content, of course. So it's not fighting, but it's like take from them what you need in the meantime.
Coexisting, maybe as well. So don't attract too much attention to you while also doing a great job. So you can they can leave you alone, and you can do your stuff while also doing having a great game. In my opinion, the best example for being able nowadays to really fight the giants is Unreal Engine, where you are really able to learn and use it for free, and publish a game for free until you reach a certain number of sold copies a year or something, where then you have to pay for the service. But I think it's really where many people that are interested in this medium could start their journey.
But you have to, of course, also mention that Unity was first there when it comes to free engines and
right.
Low access technology, and Unreal had to follow up, of course. And in the meantime, there's a healthy or not so healthy competition between those two. And the very same competition we see with distribution now, when Epic started with their store, trying to get some percentage from Valve and from Steam. Yeah. And now the third player showing up just before Netflix maybe is Amazon, of course, with their Nom de Guerre Vapor, where they of course have the Twitch community, aka customers, where they can sell the game directly in the stream, which is makes total sense, of course, but they backed up, I don't know if it's where here, with data, stolen data recently, and so on and so on. They have all the problems. Being sending a dick in space is just one. But there's a huge player coming up, and maybe we'll see an even better competition, which means better conditions for game projects and for customers, for players in the end. More competition is always better, be it hardware, be it engines, be it assets, stores, and be it, of course, distribution and clouds, whatever. Punk absolutely. Again.
Thank you. But you also, the thing is, you're still. I think you lose a little bit the I would call it independency, because it's right now. 10 years ago, when they start with digital content, I mean, I'm a retro game. I'm a collector. I like boxes. I like physical stuff. I said never digital content. Why should I use it? Because I keep in mind there was, I mean, I think it was 10 years ago, 9 years ago, the PlayStation hack that would the PlayStation hack was the PlayStation Network was around 6-7 weeks down, and it occurred really panic. And I don't know what happened if it happens today, but you see how I mean, and today 10 years later, I have a lot of digital content. I don't remember when I bought my last Blu-ray, I think 1 year ago. Video games either it switched more to digital stuff because it's more easier. I click on the button, yeah. But the risk is there.
If you still download the content, you still have it on your hard disk, and you can copy and backup it. That's safer than just streaming it.
Sure.
But I have to. We as dinosaurs, we just have to face reality. And my kids, Gen Z, they don't give a about having a box and the nice artwork. Some records here in the back. They don't care. They need the streaming MP3 platform. You know who I'm talking about. They don't need no physical attraction and gaze within this. So that's time, and it's the future.
Yeah. So it also poses the question of actual ownership. What do you actually own if you just own a code for your game or something? I'm part of this newer generation, I have to say, where I really don't think I own any games anymore on a CD. I actually got rid of them when I got rid of my Xbox. But it really comes to my mind more often than not that it's not my game when I play it. It's just something that someone allows me to play. And I think we've seen often enough how that gets used by big publishers to really milk more money out of the consumer. I think it's easier nowadays, and we really should really be aware of it.
Also, ownership of the content you created within a game. I mean, you're the best example, and that brings up the NFT topic, which I'm not really firm and fond of, because I'm old and I like to own stuff physically. But if I put hours and days and months and years into a project, and be it me being a teenager, buying I don't know, a huge fashion brand sneaker for my avatar, and the server shuts down, my shiny digital sneaker is gone. So that's a problem of ownership, of course, which might see people say that blockchain will change that all. I'm too old to be convinced easily. What's your opinion?
I mean, NFTs really it's hard because there are many digital artists. I would count myself to this group that could not make money off of their art in this way before, just because there's nothing physical they could sell, and blockchain really allows them to be in this world of art selling and trading, where they couldn't otherwise. At the same time, of course, the discussion with environmental issues and really, what do you own in the end? What if there what if there's some error at some point, and as you said, everything is gone. Um, it's really hard. I think I not even my generation is at the point where they could just accept it. I think it's going to take a little longer until we really see what the benefits and what the drawbacks especially are of this technology.
Yeah.
Maybe we can compare it to VR or so-called XR in the meantime. When I got my Virtual Boy in the 90s, no, that is a lie.
Okay.
I bought it much later, but on eBay, of course. But
You get a much headache.
when I first experienced some kind of basic VR technology, and if you see how this developed and how still difficult it is when it comes to business, but also when it comes to technology, but how fast it evolves, I'm totally positive that good stuff stays, bad stuff stays too. But that isn't it why we are playing, literally playing with this medium, because there's so much potential, so much danger as well. I started with games because it was dangerous. I was like a club DJ for like strange electronic music, and then drum and bass came along. I was always interested in the unknown, strange, and dangerous topics, and games was very bad and strange even in the early noughties, and it still is. And it's still, but the potential of innovation is still so huge and so fastly growing. I'm gonna stick to it.
I think it's very telling that we are basically allowed to talk about games at such a festival like the B3 Biennale, because it's the festival of the moving image. But it's accepted in the meantime. Like nowadays, it's accepted that games are a very, very much present way of telling stories. Maybe even the future. It's a very much more immersive way of storytelling, and I'm very grateful for this, because I've seen this development happen over my lifetime, and my lifetime is not that long yet, and I would have never thought that it would get this far, actually.
But it took a long way, to be honest. When you look back at 90s and early noughties, when the movie business was really envied games and fought games. A problem was also that it was the same funding pots. Movies and then games were funded, and they fought each other, and the movie scene was totally fighting games as a new competitor, which it was in the end. I think in Bavaria, for example, both media was funded from the same pot, and that caused a lot of distraction and unnecessary fights. But in the meantime, since 10 years we don't talk about, but games make more money than movies. In the meantime, they make more money than movies and music business altogether. But movie business profits so much from games, from technology. When you see Mandalorian made in Unreal and a lot of movies skip the green screen in the meantime and do it with those LED screens provided by game engine technology. So that's where we embrace each other, and the learnings from movie business has a long history in a fruitful exchange with games, and the other way around. And of course, there were lots of really, really bad movies based on games, and the other way around. E.T. first breakdown, whatsoever.
I mean, Howard Scott Warshaw was on the drugs the whole time he developed the game, so I think he has a good excuse, and he had only 6 weeks time. So, but this is a really good point, because you see the change in the gaming development, because in the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s, the movie companies didn't care about their games. They sold the license for a couple of money and said, we don't care which game you do with this. Today there is a different thing, because if they in the production of the movie, when they decide, okay, there should be also a video game, there are in the contracts of the actors that they'd also do the voice acting or special scenes, so they see how important this is. And I think this is a really positive conclusion of our talk, that movies and games working more together, and I think there should be a bright future for this. And so I want to thank you, both of you, for this very interesting talk about fighting the giants, working together with the giants, and looking ahead.
Hiding from the giants.
Hiding from the giants also. And, so thank you very much. And maybe we see us next year for another topic, or as we see. So thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. See ya.
Thank you for the invitation. Bye.